The following is a presentation of the Control Trends Podcasting Network.
Welcome to ControlTalk Now, your smart buildings podcast with Ken Smyers and Eric Stromquist. ControlTalk Now, your source for control news you can use. And now, here is Eric.
Hi, this is Eric Stromquist. Welcome to ControlTalk Now, your smart buildings and HVAC podcast and video cast for the week ending April 7th, 2019. This is episode 310, where we talk about all things control related, and pretty much whatever else we want to as well. And I am joined, as usual, by the man, the myth, the legend, the one, the only, Kenny Smyers, control man from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm trying to do my FM radio voice here. How am I doing, Kenny?
I think you're doing pretty good, Eric. I love those introductions. You're getting me rolling. Everything's like we're on the set, and it's all going good because another great show, another great day in the industry. Just a week capture. The captures that we have for this week are amazing. The industry is turbulent, and it's good stuff. We've got new products, we've got new releases, we've got one webinar after another. We've got some name changes, we've got acquisitions. It's just a very active industry. So. How are you doing down there in Atlanta, Georgia?
We're doing good. We're staying busy, buddy. We're staying busy. And dude, I am so excited about our guest this week. One of my favorite people in the industry. I think when you listen or watch this interview with this gentleman, you are going to be as impressed as we are. This company is on the move. Talk about turbulent, talk about disruptive in all the right ways. No, I'm not talking about one of my ex-wives. We are talking about Distech Controls. And Kenny, how about introducing our guest this week?
All right, Eric, I'd love to introduce Martin Villeneuve from Distech Controls. Martin's the president, and just doing a great job at Distech. We're really excited to talk about all the wonderful things going on in Distech. Welcome to the show, Martin.
Welcome, Martin.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Eric. And thank you for pronouncing my name well in English.
I did my best. And
nice.
We're learning. It's all part of the learning process. But yeah,
Well, great. Well, Martin, first of all, on behalf of the Control Trends community, thank you so much. Distech has been a sponsor for the Control Trends Awards, and you guys have actually done quite well at the Control Trends Awards. Our last two women of the year, both Monica and Stephanie, have been from Distech, so congratulations on that. You've won.
We're so proud for them. We're so proud for them, for her.
Yeah, well, they're great women. So one of the questions I'm probably going to ask you off air is what's your secret with great women? Because I haven't been so lucky if you follow the show, although I'm kind of lucky right now with a great wife. She'll probably listen to this. This is how I get in trouble. But you got those two. You guys were vendor of the year this year, and you had the building automation control of the system of the year in 2017. So needless to say, you guys create great products and a great experience for your customers. So if you don't mind, I'd kind of like to get a little history. Can we start with sort of how you got started in the business and how Distech got started?
Yeah, with pleasure. So Distech started 25 years ago in 1995 in the Montreal area of Quebec, Canada, being a system integrator. So system integrator of technology in order to save energy in the building. So a lot of the building in the Quebec area are heated by electrical energy and hydro energy as well. And there was a big program to save energy in the provinces. And Distech was one of the system integrator to do that. And we were using other company product to achieve. It was the rise of LawnWorks technology at the time. So, It was the rise of LawnWorks technology at the time, and we were using other company product. And the president at this time, the founder and president at this time, Etienne Veilleux, had the idea to create his own product by having a research and development design center to achieve that. So I came along in 1999, went in mechanical engineer at school. And, when you go in mechanical engineer, you can decide where to go after. There's a lot of aspect that you can go on. So you can go in air conditioning, heating, ventilation, plumbing, controls, lots of different trades, and I've decided to go in controls because that was the most interesting to me, since you could touch all the different aspects of a building all together. Maybe not go deep down in every of the aspect, but at least have a general understanding of how everything works. Was always amazed when I was a kid to look at a building and look at this and how the water is going on the 81st floor, and how do you eat that, how do you cool that, how it's working. So that was a true interest of myself. So controls was a natural progression, I would say, of my interest. And
Very cool.
Awesome.
I came into Distech as a project engineer. Actually, I was the director of project at the time. So I was in charge of executing the project with the product we had at the time, and realized pretty soon that the product we were trying to design in research and development needed a little bit of help from knowledge of the field. So worked a lot with the R&D team in order to refine the product. Myself, a lot of other people at Distech have brought lots of information as well to the R&D team. And year over year, we started by the version 1 in 2000, and version 2, version 3 still on the lawn works, and so on and so forth to the BACnet line and to where we are today.
Well, there's the growth has been fantastic. I mean, we sort of have watched you guys, and by the way, Stromquist is very proud to be a Distech partner, distributor partner now, so we really appreciate that. But we kind of watched you guys from afar and kind of go, you kind of guys started to build a reputation, and it got going, and we kept hearing more and more great things about you. And then I think a pivotal point to me was when you and Acuity and DG Logic all got together. Speak, if you would, about sort of that and how that's changed what you guys are able to do now.
I would say that our adventure, the adventure of linking BMS and lighting, had started when Distech was still independent and made a bold acquisition, I would say, in France. So far away from our hometown, developing other continent. So this acquisition was based from a product perspective on the integration in a room of lighting, sunblind, and HVAC, and everything that surrounds this, multi-sensor, remote control, user aspect, all of that sort. So this was our first attempt to really link BMS and lighting controls, and as well sunblind. And we were happy we did this acquisition in 2010. I personally went in France to manage this acquisition and the development of this product and market. And we finally achieved to, I would say, now these years, the apogee, the tip of the spears, in which we capture a lot of market share in those countries, especially in the Skyline Tower opportunity. So when Acuity came along to propose a strong partnership by 2015, we looked at that and say, hey, this is exactly in line with what we think the market should behave. There's no need for having two different disparate systems in the same room, in the same environment, to control on one side the HVAC and on one side the lighting. When you think about it, when you put a motion sensor in the room, it should not only open the light, but also give the signal to the HVAC to put yourself to the occupy set point and then open the blind. So all those systems should be linked. It's not the fact today in many markets. I would say mostly because of trades, the different way projects are bid. And also the regulation. So it's true that some countries have stronger energy regulation that force those systems to work together. So really, that Acuity was a continuity of our the application of our strategy, but now back strongly in North America. So what we like about that is that we were able to make a change in Europe, being a small manufacturer, being focused on technology, and became an important player there. I would say the North American market was a bigger challenge to play with, and Acuity, with being number one in lighting luminaire and lighting controls in North America, gave us a wonderful opportunity to work with top of the line market product line, and us being the technology provider and having a lot of expertise into the integration between lighting controls and HVAC. And even that, the partnership started in 2015, and it took us, I would say, a good year and a half to 2 years of investment between the research and development team of Acuity and Distech to really arrive to a product which is a pure unification. I think a lot of product on the market can do integration pretty well. Two systems speak on a backnet interface at one point, and integration could happen. Where I make a difference is on the unification. When you connect the system together, does all the data are recognized automatically, are easily linkable at any point of hierarchy in the system, and is it predictable? So I've been told by many customers when we did voice of customer, the problem of integration is that we know when we go in a job, we never know when we go out when we do integration like this. We never know if all the protocols are going to be easily integratable. We don't know the point that's going to be exposed. We need to call the other manufacturers in order to expose the point we need for that specific sequence of operation. When they work with our system, our goal is to make it easy and predictable, that always they will not have any stress to go in and out in a reasonable amount of time and an optimized amount of time. As a matter of fact, I think we published this not so long ago that Distech and Acuity did all the Target store in North America. So more than 2,000 stores in which we did, we have a Distech Eclipse controller, which is the web interface, and all the lights is controlled through that, all according to a cloud server. So, and the optimization per store, the speed of execution is really fast and predictable.
Well, Marc, it's very impressive. In fact, I just wanted to review a couple of things. So what led to Distech's meteoric growth has been innovation. I think you made it very clear. You gave us some good points there, and quality. One thing I've heard about Distech over the last few years is the impressive quality, not only innovation, but quality. There's not many stutter steps or reverse gears where you led with some new technology and it didn't pan out and it had to be reworked or whatever. So I think what you've done now is Distech has kind of set a new standard of integration, and it's really interesting to see how quickly you've grown. And my biggest question, what comes to mind is, what are the tools? How did you achieve this meteoric growth? I mean, obviously you needed good partners, systems integrators, and now distributors, but tell us a little bit about some of the components of Distech's approach and why it's been so successful.
We love to think that we are as good as you say, but there's always room for improvement in any company. Well, we strive to be the best. We strive to have the best quality, and but we don't take it for granted. We're still working days and nights almost to make sure that we have this quality. It's true that, being an international player, we ship product in close to 80 countries. So when we release a new product, the last thing we want to do is a recall, So for example, I can speak about that. One of the things that we did very early on, I remember Distech was probably 10 million at the time in overall sales. And we said, hey, we are really becoming an international manufacturer. So we cannot go on site if something is happening. So we decided to invest massively in a Q&A department, in a quality assurance department. And this department in our R&D team, which is divided in firmware, software, hardware, and quality assurance. I would say that we pay, of course, we invest a little bit more in firmware and software because of all the functionality of the product, but quality assurance is an important department of our R&D. And no product goes out on the market untested. So this is when we design a product, but also every single product that we manufacture goes to a series of tests in our office. And when we detecting even some product are returning, believe it or not, we have some RMA, the percentage is very, very small. But every time we're analyzing, it's never a big issue, but always things that we can think for the next product to improve. And yes, you know, at the beginning, when we started to be an international manufacturer, we used to be stressed a little bit when we were expediting product all over the world. And now we're trying to master it more and more. But hey, technology is changing so much. Today we are, designing a controller with a Lynxsprings 32-bit processor, 8-bit processor, and now going to Eclipse IP 64-bit processor, many gigabyte of RAM, and Bluetooth technology, Wi-Fi technology. There's so much test that needs to go on. In our test room, we have hundreds, if not thousands of controllers. And when the research and development guy every night are going home, they push their latest release version, and it's all going to be tested at night. And this is from a hardware point of view, but from a software point of view, it's going also on computer racks with all the version of Windows available and even others in order to test at night. And when they come back in the morning, they all see the test reports and they all see where to fix things. So there's a lot of automated testing going on.
Really and truly, the growth has to be based on successful components. And turning to the partner type of part of the question with the systems integrators, tell us about some of the partners you have in your channel that led to the growth.
Yeah, so we have about close to 500 partner worldwide. Partner, we say system integrator. We have distributor like you, like Stromquist, but ultimately distributor are also going to system integrator. You just have a tighter relationship with them. Yes, this both the growth of Distech is coming from an innovation strategy on the product, but also an innovation strategy on the channel and how we sell the product, how customer get access to it. So it's the open technology on both sides, on the technology and on the sales channel. So an end user is not locked with the product. You know, it's an open technology. It's either Lynxsprings, BACnet, MSTP, BACnet IP, REST API, Bluetooth. So all the open technology of the market. So they're not locked. So if they want to merge with another product, as long as the other product is open, it's easy to be done. But also having system integrator channel network that when a customer is let's say unsatisfied with the service of a partner, he could always decide to go to another partner while keeping the product.
That's big.
That it's not necessarily the case with other BMS manufacturers that have other strategy to go to market.
Sure.
So that has paid off a lot. And It's the close relationship between Distech and the channel partner, the system integrator. It's the trust that we have been able to establish between ourselves. So we never let down any of our partner on a job. I have to say that we need to thank our partner, because at the early beginning, Distech was not that involved into the business development to the end user, to the consulting engineer community in the market. Now we are much more. So really our partner created our growth. And now we are arriving to a point where where Distech is helping as well. Because the more we go in class A of the building type, hospitals, higher education, airports, so where we are servicing any type of project now. I say we because I include the system integrator when I say we. And this needs sometimes the help of the manufacturer in order to close an important project. Not always. So we have system integrator that can go to all the type of project by themselves, but we always there to help. And it's also a good thing that the system integrator knows that we're there to help and not necessarily to take the project directly from them, but it's be there as a manufacturer of product to make sure that they are competitive and they will be effective making this project.
Oh, very cool. You know, one of the things we've noticed is when you listen to Ken Sinclair from Automated Buildings, for example, and he talks about the importance of the customer experience, right? And it seems like intuitively you guys have just been on that. When I look at your portfolio of products, and I even look at how you guys are marketing, it really is getting back to the experience from your hotel, interface to your ability to make the experience better for the for the customer. Obviously, that's a conscious decision on your guys' part, right?
It is definitely. So, like I said, I think at the beginning of interview, in the past, we used to focus a lot on being a fast follower on the market. So enhance what people could get from other place, make it a better one. And now we change to leading the market. And leading the market is not only on the usage of the product, but also the usage by, I would say, integration point of view, but the usage by the end user. So a lot of the product proved that in the last couple of years that we released a Unitouch, which is a slick wall device interface with touchscreen, Bluetooth functionality, multi-sensor Bluetooth, a lot of application as well, my personified, and that you can communicate with an app on your phone with the sensor on the wall or with the motion sensor on the ceiling, in order to help the user experience. But the user, we mean the end user. So we did a lot of voice of customer in the recent time in order to achieve that. And we want to push the pedal onto that aspect as well, because more and more the end user are involved in the choice of the building automation system that they have in their building.
Right.
Because of and we talked about it prior to the interview, and we're talking about it a lot at Distech Controls internally and externally of the 300 rules.
Right.
So,
You guys are totally on that, and we have a lot of end users that actually watch our show, believe it or not, even some C-suite type folks. So this is a great opportunity for them to hear how you guys are rolling, because their business is getting more competitive too, right? I mean, just to be able to hire people and have them come into the space, their space has to be a great space, has to be environmentally controlled properly, and they have to have flexibility. So your mobile app is phenomenal. I mean, you guys are really hitting on it with that. As you're trying to attract millennials in, to have that mobile app to be able to interface is a huge piece. The other thing that I think gives you guys a definite advantage is the psychological effect of lights and what that has to do with productivity. And I know, for example, one of the strategies that you guys taught us was, hey, we can use a light, changing the temperature of the light as a first stage of heat or first stage of cooling, and that saves energy. but at the same time being able to tune the lights throughout the day. And, there's so much stuff you guys are doing in that regard, but speak a bit about that, if you would, because I think that's a huge, huge piece that our end user customers who are watching the show are going to hear about.
Yeah, so 330, 300, and then the link with the lighting, it's very interesting. So 3 is the energy cost, 30 is the cost of the rent, and 300 is the cost of the people in the room. So more and more we were asked by the building owner to say, hey, make me more efficient into renting my space. So make me more attractive. So what is going to be more attractive today for somebody who's going to be a tenant? It's basically, yes, the volume of the space, the window, but also the technology. Why we're buying a car today. I don't think we want to buy a car without the Bluetooth interface for our phone. A little bit the same concept for a building. Do you want to rent a building which is not going to be able to communicate well with you? Maybe not, especially if you have the choice. So if the building next door is there as well, almost same location, but better connectivity, yes. So we worked a lot on trying to save on the $3 a square foot a year. And in fact, we could work on a higher value, which is the $30 a square foot a year. And then the 300 is the productivity of the people. So that's why we're releasing app. Yes, when you have an app, you don't have to walk up to the interface in order to change the level of lighting, to change the blind. For example, now I sit, if I would like to close the blind, I would just have to play with my phone, boom, boom, and I stop the glare to come in. So this is productivity, but we're going to push it much more than that. Like you said, with the integration of lighting with tunable white as a first stage of heat, a first stage of cool. This is more, I would say, and I'm laughing at the same time, it's more of cool stuff. We did implement it in our offices as well. So when people are changing the set point to +1, we just bluish the light a little bit in order to people to feel more cool or more warm. As a matter of fact, I know the subway in Paris, there's no air conditioning or heating in this subway, and they have tunable white. So they make it a little bit more, they make it more blue in the summer in order for the people to feel cool, and warm white during the winter in order to feel warm. So this is a proven use of the technology. Also the circadian rhythm of the sun as well, that we're doing in office environment. This year, we are releasing a true unified platform in North America with Enlight. So you're going to have the Eclipse controller, Eclipse room controller. It could be a VV or a fan coil. An interface of Enlight, so being able to communicate with all the Enlight devices. And why this is important, it's not only a dry contact or a 0 to 10 volt. So Enlight is opening up a whole set of lighting controls devices and switches. And it's not only for one room, it's for the entire building. So Acuity is the #1 into lighting controls as well, not only the luminaire, but lighting controls. And Enlight is a predominant lighting communication into the market in North America. And so when you combine best of the breed in the BMS, sorry, I have to make my speech.
Of course, no, of course.
Technology from a BMS market, which is Eclipse, BACnet, and Enlight together in the same unified environment. Wow. And then you touch on the wall, you put
Envision on your to do your graphics, and right.
Exactly, and all our devices have the DJ Logix engine built in.
Nice.
As a web server that we call Envision. So yeah. So what else could you want more?
Well, Martin, that's why I was saying y'all were setting the standard. I mean, I lived in Europe for a while too, and I remember coming back to the States in 1993, and no one understood shading control yet. I mean, not to make it like it's a disparity, but in Europe they were already on top of the shades. One of the houses that lived in for a while. They used to have these things called rouladen, but the integration of lighting in the United States or North America as a whole has been kind of slow. I mean, it's like because of the way the windows are made and the shading controls aren't really given a lot of consideration. So some of the great features that you can integrate with your products, your Eclipse and Enlightened and Envision aren't acceptable. You can't deploy them to a lot of buildings because of the building does not have the adequate, components to make that a reality. So we're seeing some headway, a little bit of headway. We're seeing some product manufacturers. Do you get the chance to influence the trade industries at the expos or whatnot, telling them how all these opportunities are there to integrate lighting at a new level, at a much more integral, granular level? If you just put motors or engines or whatever you'd call to control the lights and the shades, or not the lights, but the shades, because many buildings, I mean, I see new buildings going up and I can't understand why they didn't make that a part of that new building. These new buildings, we see specifications come out every day, and I don't think the North American engineering or community is accepting that as well as quickly as they should, because it's such an integral aspect and there's so much more energy savings and such a greater level of integration. Do you see us getting progress? I mean, is that an observation? Have you made that for Europe versus North America?
Yeah, and this is a good question. I've lived in Europe for 8 years as well, so I could observe the difference by myself. Yes, in Europe, I would say all the Class A building, without a doubt, there's going to be motorized shading controls in all of them. In North America, I would say that I'm going to give you a percentage, probably 10 to 15% of the building of Class A have motorized shade. We see them more probably than other players because we have a product to address that. So every time there's a project that needs that, we're on it. So that's why I would not say that it's not there. Yes, it's there because we see it. From a lighting integration, I'm impressed about the market change that is happening. So I've seen in many towns, that mechanical contractor are making merge and acquisition with electrical contractor. So they've observed what's going on from a product strategy point of view, and they say, hey, if we want to capture the full value of that, we need to change. We need to change internally. We need to avoid the fact that there's always a mechanical, a loan from an electrical bid to maybe the same firm of consulting engineer, but two different guys. So this is moving, I agree, at a slow pace, but it's there. It's there. And again, because Acuity are playing in that market, we see it more because every time somebody really wants to do lighting and BMS integration, they call us first. So then we have an over-representation of the market, I would say. But it's definitely happening.
Well, no, agreed.
And the reason why, we could go into detail, but it's gonna get really technical.
Cool. I'm glad to hear it. In other words, just to summarize that whole thing is that I too have noticed that too, but again, we go to the shows, we go to the Realcomm, IBCons, we go to the various trade shows, we go to the summits and whatever. And I just haven't seen, like you said, the lighting people, the vendors that could be a part of that aren't yet part of that vendor group. They're not invited yet to some of the controls and the BAS conventions and expos yet, but it's coming. And I'm glad to hear it. And I think your point, that summary you made at the very beginning, the trades, the bidding process, and the energy regulations, because you have 50 states and each state, if it's not mandated by the federal government, then the state gets to decide how, like California being so more advanced with Title 24, because energy is just so much more important. And then you go somewhere else and it's like, who cares? Energy's cheap. And so therefore there's that lag, that latency, where if the federal government came in and said, boom, we all need to do this, uniformly across all the states, then you'd see a greater adoption.
It's moving fast. I would say United States is moving fast. The state of California, but not only the state of Washington. The state of Washington have even probably stronger regulation than the state of California. And then it's currently being an application in many other states. And when I'm going to California or Washington State, I feel that I'm in Europe from a regulation perspective. So for them, the integration of shade and lights makes no doubt. And you see there's a lot of big player of our industry, of our economy, I would say, you know, the GAFA of this world, and they are influencing. So every place they're building a building, they want to build it with the same regulation they would see in their hometown. So this is spreading the technology to be used.
Good news, yeah. That's great news.
That bodes well. Well, Martin, I had the wonderful experience about a year or two ago, so it's probably changed a lot, of actually going to the Acuity lighting portion of it, seeing how you guys were integrating with the Acuity lighting and all. And I got to tell you, for our audience out there, especially our retail type customers or retail type integrators, the stuff that you guys are able to do in terms of, because they would have these different scenes, right, from a convenience store to an office space, and they were actually like little modules. And what you guys are able to do is you're able to walk in and the lights automatically change depending on, you know, the particular scene you want. But what kind of blew me away on the retail side anyway was, if I go in front of the potato chips, for example, in a retail, in like a grocery store type thing, then I could get a coupon immediately sent to me. I mean, it seems like you guys have the ability to incorporate location,
dwell time, yeah.
And dwell time, and then incorporate from a business and a marketing standpoint. It seems like you guys are more than just a controls company. I mean, you guys could be a big piece of a marketing strategy.
Definitely. So Acuity have invested a lot into becoming a technology manufacturer, a technology provider, than only a metal vendor of lighting, if I can say so.
Yeah.
So the acquisition by Acuity of Distech Controls for the BMS technology, Eclipse, and IP, the acquisition of Byte Light for the Bluetooth communication inside of the luminaire, the acquisition of Geometry in order to do software rendering of where the people are, so the heat map, so we call, and DJ Logics to enhance all the software capability of Acuity are directly were made toward the strategy of using the luminaire not only as a device, not only as something that lit up the place and consume energy less and less over year, but also being a strategic asset, being a beacon, being a Bluetooth beacon, not only also using visual light communication. You know, the LED light have this unique capabilities of being able to blink at a Hertz level, at a rate that the eyes couldn't see. So this enabled it to communicate with the smartphones in the room. So that's why we can precisely locate people in a shopping mall, for example. So the retail experience that you have mentioned is true. So this is working in many of the big box retail in North America, and everybody did this part. You know, all the company, all the engineering were put together in order to achieve the unique functionality of doing indoor location. So, for example, the Target, we have Target as a customer. They have an app in which you're going to do the shopping list. And when you click enter at the end, so it's going to help you to find all where the stuff is in order to optimize your time in the store. Not only optimize the customer time, but also optimize the refill time of the employee. Give information to the manufacturer that supply those big box retail on where the people are in the store. So there's many use that I could not even give you today. But this technology is giving us that, and we're taking that technology and we are also porting it into the BMS. So that's why this year Distech is going to release a full indoor positioning solution.
Okay. Now hang on a second, because
you're scaring Eric.
No, hang on, Kenny. Hang on. For our community out there, all the stuff Martin has talked to up until now is stuff that they're already doing. And one of the questions we wanted to ask you was Well, tell us about Distech 2.0. I can't imagine you could do anything else, but tell us about Distech 2.0. I'm totally blown away by this.
Distech 2.0. So Distech 2.0 is basically we have updated the organizational structure inside of Acuity about a year ago, in order to make Distech a fighting unit, to make sure that Distech is serving, is working well within Acuity in order to share the technology, but also keep its winning position in BMS market as well. So I had the pleasure to assemble a leadership team composed of industry experts, composed of long-time people at Distech, in order to crank up the machine and say, hey guys, what's next?
Nice.
Now that we were a fast follower for many years, we were becoming a leader with our Eclipse technology. Now we cannot look anywhere else for our IDs than with our customers, with our end users, because unfortunately, and I hate to say it this way, we cannot look at our competitors anymore to lead us. So there's many things that will come out of Distech, like we had a tremendous partner conference in December in Miami, in which we unleash the Distech 2.0 program. So this is about to double the company in 3 years. And with all the product line that we are launching, all the customer energy that is giving back to us, create an unbelievable amount of trust. And we're in good way to achieve it. So I love it. So if we have a little bit more time, I can talk about the new product, which is going to be released. But
oh, Martin, I think our community would kill us if we didn't give you time to talk about the new.
But I just want to say one thing too, Martin. I did not over exaggerate or inflate or embellish the compliments I gave you at the beginning of the show. That sounds to me like you've earned every one of them. And by the way, I just want to throw this in before I don't get a chance. I went on your website too, and it's a great website, but if you go into the press releases, you guys have won an award about every month of 2000. I mean, every month you won the Global Standard for Quality Management Systems. You won the Enlight Solution, voted 2018 Product of the Year. Distech hosted the Canadian ambassador at the European head office. I mean, you guys are really on the move. I mean, and this is good stuff. So you got a great marketing department too, because people like Eric has said many times, to declare it yourself is one thing. So if you say I'm the greatest, these are the best products and we make them, whatever, that's one thing. But if you get the recognition from third parties, from end users, from communities, from engineering groups, that's really truly the accolades that sell, because they're not self extollations. They're driven by accomplishments, and they're driven by being compared against the competition and succeeding and winning and prevailing. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for the team. I'm going to take back this to the team. It's not me. It's the team.
Well, tell us about the product you started to tell us about, Martin. Can we hear a little bit about that?
Yes, you know about the existing product line. So when you look at that, when you show this to an end user, to a customer, is what else? What's next? It seems that you have it all.
Right. Well, and to put that in perspective, you guys have the IP controllers, which is awesome. You are able to connect them very easily with just a plug-in module. So now you can go throughout the building wirelessly. So, I mean, those are things that in and of themselves, you guys have sort of perfected. So, yeah. So what is next, Martin? What else could you possibly do?
So some of it are continuous improvement, in innovation by continuous improvement. We have already, like I said, at Acuity, we have the indoor positioning. So now we're going to deploy, because we have Bluetooth technology in our wall sensor and we have it on our ceiling sensor, then we can deploy indoor positioning using the BMS infrastructure. So regardless if you have only a lighting product in the building or only BMS product in the building, you're going to be able to deploy indoor positioning. So this is going to be released in the next months.
Nice.
Then what you do with indoor positioning, what you do with the location of the people inside of the office. So we wanted to provide an app that will be used by the end user or the tenants, in order to optimize their time. So to know if the conference room are used. So we know it because we have the indoor positioning. To know where to go to a conference room. In big campuses, sometimes you have a meeting at 10, it's already 9:45, and where is this room? So you're going to have a guided path. Then report incident. There's a broken something in the building, and since you're geo-localized, you can report the incident. So a lot of those applications are going to be added to what we call My Personify app, which is going to be called now My Personify Workplace.
Kenny, because he brings up a great point, because not only does he have a great product, he's got a great partner thing, but now, because the hardest thing for all of us is to promote ourselves, now you're doing this special thing for your partners where you're putting a spotlight on them and creating these incredible press releases. So talk to us about what you're doing for your partners.
Exactly. So Lauren Scott is our director of marketing and communication. She's doing with her team a wonderful job. So we task her to say that, hey, now we need to communicate not only with our system integrator, but the entire community, the influencer, the end user, the consulting engineers, and the contractor. So we're having a program in which we did that in Europe a lot. When we were having one of those big towers opportunity, we did a press release and promoting as much as our technology, then also our partner, the system integrator. And as a matter of fact, the consulting engineer or the owner or the builder of this building liked a lot this promotional activities that we do. So next month, which is in a couple of weeks now, we're doing our first one in North America. We're going to be in Washington at the 555 12th Street JLL building, executed by our long-term partner, Smart BT in Washington. And we're doing a press release. I think you guys are going to be there. The press is going to be invited. It's called by JLL as the most connected building in North America. So we really want to see this. We want to expose that to the community. And we're going to have a round on a monthly basis of buildings like this, which are going to be promoted and shown to all the community. So this is our little contribution we can make on the market to make education on connected buildings.
Wow.
Exciting.
Wow. So you're hitting all the bases. You got the product, you're influencing the marketplace, you're thinking beyond just the BAS system where now it's becoming part of a business. I mean, it seems like to have your system is now a business tool. If I'm an owner, this is something I can make my building more marketable. I can save energy. I can reduce the operational cost. And then on top of that, if I'm a systems integrator, you're going to get me some great press. How are you going to top this, Martin?
Well, we don't want to forget our system integrator. They are the one who made us to this point. So we want to make sure that we develop a community and we develop tools for our system integrators. So we're having this program called Velocity X. So this is Velocity X. So, it's the word velocity. Make sure that they get speed. With the current challenge everywhere in the world, but especially in North America, to find experienced resources, engineer to do the project, to do the work. So we want to simplify all of this by a set of tools. So we already have a lot of little tools one by one, but now integrating them into a platform that will be new website, a forum, new e-commerce, and VEX, which is a virtual engineering experience, which that will help the SI to engineer all the project from the estimation, submittal, engineering, programming, down to the warranty and service in a cloud platform. This is going to be available to our SI. So we have our VP of Customer Experience, Matthew, which is leading us in this wonderful effort.
Oh, Martin, fantastic. Well, listen, it has been such a pleasure having you on the show. We got to get you to come back. Will you come back maybe, at least twice a year, maybe once a quarter? I know you stay busy, but I think our community is really going to enjoy this interview.
I appreciate it. I appreciate your time, and it's nice to be able to have a forum to expose what we try to do our best. And we have the passion about what we do, and this is what motivate us. Our customer and our passion motivate us on a daily basis. Just want to end the interview by saying that Distech 2.0 this year, when we released it, it was about around 3 themes, and the themes are very near and dear to my heart, and it's trust, energy, and growth.
Nice.
So the trust we have with our employees and customer, the energy we put in everything we do, and then the growth mindset. So never take anything for granted, and always try to grow it.
Well, you know what, Martin, there's a saying we used to have around Stromquist and Company, which is, if better is possible, good is not enough. So
I love it.
Martin, thanks so much. DistechControls.com is the best website, correct?
Yes.
All right, my friend. Well,
thank you, guys. You're doing a wonderful job for the community. You're the man. You're the guys. You're the reference in our industry. So thank you for being there and continuing to do what you do.
Thank you so much, Martin. I'm so impressed with what Distech's up to and what Martin's doing. Man, they really seem to be capturing. I mean, we've had Ken Sinclair on a lot, and he's talking about the environment and making the building more so sort of eco-friendly. You know, we've talked about the $330 rule, and it sure seems like Distech has been paying attention and is sort of structuring their products and rolling out products to sort of meet that need.
Couldn't agree with you more, because the way I see it is there's a lot of globability now with products, platforms, or whatever. But when you actually can take the best of technologies from around the world and synthesize them into one offering that really delivers the total room integration, and then bring it down to the levels that people can buy it and put it in, and make it reasonably priced, and then have a network of competent integrators, and then have a distribution channel that's being formed. You're really setting a new standard. You're setting a new pace. So I'm really just really impressed, and I see a couple other companies following in suit with the global reach, with the global products, putting them all together in one package, one front end, and really delivering a total room automation, a total room integration. We'll be talking about that more and more.
Yeah, we'll be having more and more people coming on. We've got Siemens coming on in the next couple of weeks. They're one of the people that are playing that way. Marc, Petock, and the team at Lynxsprings doing a lot of that stuff. EasyIO, of course, will be at their conference. But again, I think we need to just pause for a moment and give our friend Ken Sinclair a shout out, because Ken's been sort of calling these shots, right? If you were a gambler, remember back in the days we had Jimmy the Greek. For our younger listeners, you might not know who he was, but he was an NFL analyst, and he would always give you the lines, the betting lines and how to bet. We give you tips, and he was accurate more often than not. So I don't know. We got to rename Ken Nostradamus Auto Sinclair to Ken Nostradamus Auto Sinclair. Ken the Greek Sinclair, but again, shout outs to Ken. Ken, man, you're really making a lot of good calls. If you haven't checked out automatedbuildings.com, the April issue's out. We talked about it on last week's show, but this is a guy you want to pay attention to and you want to follow. So Ken, we're glad we know you, brother.
Hey, Eric, to your point, I mean, Ken's now getting some recognition. He'll be one of the featured keynote speakers at ControlsCon, May 2nd and 3rd up in Detroit, the Motor City Casino, Motor City Casino with the Cochran Supplies incredible ControlsCon 2018. And then Ken Sinclair is also going to be a featured speaker or breakout session, whatever. He's going to be doing something down at Realcomm Ivicon. So he's getting that industry recognition that he is quite a prophet of our industry that's getting some recognition. So well done, Ken.
Right. And I got to tell you, Ken, I'm a little bit disappointed because we've been calling out two of our favorite women in the industry, Lindsay Baker and Darlene Pope, both now with WeWorks, because we want to have you come on our show, but we haven't heard from you. Have we done something to offend you? You not like my hair? What's happening here? Is Kenny need to change his glasses back? Whatever it takes, we want you on the show. And another one of our favorite women, and I understand why we're not hearing from her because she is staying busy, is Therese Sullivan with Tritium and BuildingContext.me, another very, very bright individual. So,
well, don't forget Gina Elliott too. I mean, the women are really making an impact, Eric. I mean,
was Gina Elliott from EasyIO? You absolutely want another one of my favorite people. And then Josh Bradshaw. the king of Silicon Valley. Josh, thanks for that video you sent us earlier in the week where he sort of broke down the history of pneumatics, told me something I didn't know. But you'd have to go to the Control Trends YouTube channel to see that one, because we're not posting that on Control Trends. And sort of gets back to a theme. We're trying to post more and more content. We get it up quicker on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the Control Trends Smart Buildings YouTube channel. We'll put a link in the show notes for you. But good stuff from Josh there too. Anybody else you want to shout out to, buddy?
Well, if you give me a second, but I just wanted to say too that a lot of the things we did, we try to throw that midweek review in there just to give everybody a quick bookmark of what's going on and what's happening in the industry. So I think we're getting.
And if you don't know who does the midweek review, it is a guy that Tom Brokaw, Anderson Cooper, Chet Huntley, and David Brinkley, for you older folks, they look up to. Our own, the man, the myth, the legend, does a midweek review that we only post on the YouTube channel, where he'll give you a quick synopsis of what you need to know during the middle of the week. So another reason you subscribe to the Control Trends Smart Building YouTube channel. Check the link out below.
Well, that's in pretty good company there, huh? Tom Brokaw. I haven't heard his name in quite a while. In fact, I got one of his books over there. But remember the day where who was it? The announcer every Sunday would watch. Oh God, what was his name? Not Brinkley. Chuck Brinkley. No, what was his name? Brinkley.
David Brinkley, Chet Huntley.
Yeah.
Mike Wallace was another one.
It was 60 Minutes, but who was the one that did like the space launch? With landing on the moon. He passed away, but he was quite an anchor man.
Yeah.
I'll think of it in a second. What we just want to say, a couple of things is that, there's a lot of things going on in the industry that are worth noticing and taking note of. Is Sierra Monitor was purchased by MSA, and it was a pretty sizable acquisition. And what was unique about that, if you go to our post, they put the actual buyouts in the terms of the sale, and you don't normally see that stuff, on the front page of their press release. But these guys are proud of it, and I think what they're doing is they're telling Sierra Monitor transaction value approximately $33 million, about 1.5 times revenue on a trailing 12 months basis, expected EBITDA multiple of 7x. I mean, you just, so if you ever wanted to see, how people value businesses and everything, that's a nice post because it goes down into the granular level. And then
well, hang on a second. I want to talk a little bit about that because those folks do some great stuff. Our friend, who was our contact originally, Varun Najara, is now a professor at Stanford, I believe, University. Is that right?
Well, he's gone into the academic world. Yeah, I believe it's Stanford.
So maybe we should introduce him. And I'm trying to trip Kenny up here. Maybe we should introduce him to our futurist, who's also a teacher out there. Kenny, what was her name again?
Oh no, Janthi.
Sudha Janthi. Very good, Kenny.
Yeah. Well, it took me. I was that was a tongue twister that I got past. So
I'm being a little bit of a rapscallion here, Kenny.
Oh, look at you go, man. So normally it's the edit. See, Eric has the advantage of he makes a mistake, he can edit it out. If I make a mistake, it's highlighted. So
yeah, that's one of the few perks to being the editor of the show. Is you get to do that. So.
Well, there is one other one that I thought was of significant note, and we went down and met with Mike Epperson when he was ISA, and they had quite an operation down there in
that's right,
Louisville. Remember, he's a big basketball fan, and the difference between Louisville and University of Kentucky, that's bad. You don't want to mix those two guys.
You don't want to be on the wrong side. It's like Auburn and Alabama. Down in Alabama, you better have two hats in your car.
Exactly.
And actually, you better not be driving a car. You better be driving a truck.
Yeah, with the rifle rack. And but anyhow, it's pretty impressive what they've got going on. So basically now ISA will be Protegus Fire and Safety, but they do quite a lot of business down there, kind of like off center stage, because what they do is they keep malls and they keep hospital wings, and they keep various things up in Adam based on taking the damaged equipment or something that was burnt out, and they can release those critical components without using the UL ratings or losing the UL ratings or whatever. So he does a great job. And
yeah, no, for systems where the manufacturers don't make the product anymore. And Kenny and I did a video. We were actually down there. Kenny, we should probably try to find the link in Control Trends. We actually did a video tour of their facility. It was very, very, very impressive. And again, if you have old legacy stuff that the manufacturers don't make anymore, and this is everything from fire and security to old Honeywell Delta stuff to old
Apogee,
Johnson,
yeah,
Apogee, and stuff
everything.
like that. They actually will refurbish it, and they maintain the status of the
Right, and I
code.
think their biggest customer is Uncle Sam. The Pentagon is their biggest contract, I think. So, they do some excellent work. Again, it emanates from old ESA.
ESA,
Yeah.
USA, or something like that. Yeah,
But anyhow, they do a good job, and congratulations, because it looks like they're not just surviving, they're
they're
accelerating.
thriving. They're not as surviving; they're thriving.
Exactly. So then we had a bunch of webinars again that was pretty well posted on the midweek review about Siemens has a very important webinar coming up, and it's through CG&A, Jim Heyman and the guys are putting it out there, but they opened it up to contracting. They want to get the word out. They have a new economizer controller that they're really, really psyched, impressed with, and everybody should take a look at it. So if you're
No, what makes the economizer controller different than the one that they have? Have you had a chance to see it yet?
well, it's just improved. In other words, you sell it as a kit. I think Honeywell
Right.
was the first one I remember. We had the economizer kits, and they had these
Like
little
the enthalpy or whatever, two sensors, one
exactly.
on.
So what happens is there's the do's and don'ts of that, and you don't want to make a mistake on it, because basically in our area here in north western Pennsylvania, especially up in the elevated areas, I mean, first stage of cooling now is going to be blue lighting or lighting, so that's kind of cool.
Right.
We've seen that based on our
friend Martin. Yep.
But the economizer here is huge. I mean, we have like maybe 70, 80 days where you have that cold, fresh air available. And before you bring on your mechanical cooling, you bring in some outside air, as long as the enthalpy is correct, and it's not too humid or whatever. But it saves a great deal of money over time. It pays for itself, and the paybacks, very incredible, like three years and less.
Ken, have you also been seeing, because I think Honeywell did this for one, probably Siemens does too, and I apologize to the folks at Siemens. I have not had a chance to look at this new economizer yet. I'm very excited about checking it out. But I know there was a big push at, indoor air quality, where you would look for the enthalpy or, the fresh air, but you would also look for like the CO2 or the contaminants in the air. And if your air was fresher internally versus outside, you wouldn't necessarily bring as much outside air in for ventilation, because you'd be bringing in, like if you're in, someplace with an industrial area where there are a lot of smokestacks and all, maybe there's a lot of pollution, you wouldn't necessarily want to bring as much outside air in as you'd want to just recirculate there. Whichever one has the less contaminants. Are you seeing that at all?
Well, I mean, yeah, of course, there's a growing, the technology is getting smaller and the footprints are getting smaller, but, we're seeing some great sensors coming out of different manufacturers. Siemens has a great one too. Even their RS-120 thermostat, RDS-120 thermostat, has 6 sensors in it on board. One of them is a VOC. So basically, back in the old days with VOCs, people wanted to know if people were smoking in bathrooms or whatever. So you had to put a sensor in there that could do various things. It could also do the methane sensing, but anything that was outside of the normal air, it would bring on a fan and maybe make it an alarm. So we've seen this go to, like, remember carbon monoxide, where we had these incredible sensors that came out, and we found out like trucks would queue in front of a air intake down at the local supermarkets. Couldn't understand why they were getting this incredible influx of carbon monoxide between 4 and 6 o'clock in the morning. And here it was because all these trucks were queued up. The first guy in, they'd leave the motors running, and then you've got your fresh air intake right there, just bringing in all this carbon monoxide. So we learned how to really use things, to use these sensors to advantage. But now they've got such economies of scale, and these things they're not inexpensive, because you get what you pay for, obviously. But yeah, no. So now we have the particulates. So we've got Siemens, we've got Airware, Aware.
Aware, yeah, there are a bunch of them. iAir is another one that.
Right. So they're actually able to. We were unaware of things before, like some of the furniture manufacturers, some of the new carpets, the curtains. They're emitting, chemicals, odors, and things that aren't good for the respiratory system. So the guy that divides, his motivation was that his daughter was allergic to things, and he couldn't figure out what it was. So he went down and started getting down to the really small levels and getting filters and finding out that there were things in the air besides the gases, besides the carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, whatever, and they were particulates. So
it's the technology.
Sensor, yeah.
Right. Now, the technology is great, and the sensor technology has come a long way, and I think we're going to see more and more of that. And, speaking of that, if you hadn't had a chance to check out Belimo's new sensor line, the people for that orange actuators, they've come up with just a really upgraded sensor line. We should probably do a segment on that, Kenny, which we will. We'll get somebody from Belimo on. But listen, I've got a Trivial Pursuits question for our audience, and you can win a Stromquist and Company hat or a DMS control, we'll give you some sort of a hat. And the reason I say hat is, and don't give it away, Kenny, we're going to ask you a question because we're going to have a guest from Siemens on. He is known as the man who wears the fedora. So if you reach out in comments, and I'll say we'll give away 5 of these hats. Reach out in comments, and if you correctly identify our guest is coming on the next week or so from Siemens who wears the fedora, you'll get a hat. What do you say? You down, Kenny? And don't you give it away. I know you want to give it away. You can't give it away.
Well, as a free hat, and I know the answer. So can I oh, that says right. If you're part of the team, the employer, or whatever, you can't win prizes.
Yeah,
that's right.
You're from the government. You know how that works, buddy. So dang it. So listen, you reading anything good before as we wind down? What are you reading?
Actually, I am, man. This is an amazing book. The first one was it was the Damon. His name's Daniel Suarez, and this is an amazing book.
Hold it up so we can see it, buddy.
But I want to say something. How do you end every show? Be bold. And what do you say?
Stay in control.
Okay.
Stay relevant.
All right. Here, this is the book is called Freedom. It's part 2 of a book, so you got to read part 1.
Yeah.
What does this part say right here, Rick? This is your closing line.
It said everything is under control. Everything. So do we have any lawyers out there? I'm wondering if maybe we have the rights to that. Do we get a piece of that book now, Kenny?
I don't think so. I think that's going to, I think it's going to be in the trampled zone where everybody has a right to say words that, have very common, common, whatever, I forget how that works, but with trademarks and whatever, you can't put a trademark on something that's,
Right. All right, buddy. Well, listen, so good stuff. So I'm reading one called The Talent Code. It's one of the most incredible books I've ever read, and I encourage you to check that out. But basically, it's how come all the soccer players in Brazil are so good? How come certain parts of Russia that have nothing, dilapidated facilities, produce the greatest tennis players in the world? It gets into some things that will surprise you. It's a great book. I'll put a link to it in the show notes.
Well, that sounds like Malcolm Gladwell's book, The Tipping Point and all that.
It's kind of like that. It goes deeper than that, and there's great news there, okay? The great news, and I'll give you a tip, is something called deep practice, and that doesn't mean that you're practicing a long time, but, I should just give it away. But anyway, we'll do it next show.
It sounds like DNA, though, too. It sounds like there's a little DNA.
No DNA at all. That's it. It's not DNA. It's not environment. It has nothing to do with the things that conventional wisdom say it does. It's duplicatable. Okay? So
you go to the Olympics.
Well, yeah, you could. I mean, most Olympic people. I mean, in other words, success leaves clues, and so here, all right, I'll give you a piece of it real quick. So there was a high school English soccer coach back in the 60s who could not figure out why Brazil was producing the greatest soccer players in the world. So he took some money out. He went down to Brazil to study. He thought they were going to have these elaborate training facilities. He thought it was DNA. He thought it was everything else, right? But he began to watch, and the thing was, because they were impoverished, they really couldn't afford fields. They couldn't afford, a lot of soccer balls. So they spent 95% of their time performing in equivalents of, or practicing in equivalents of rooms. They would have these scrimmages, be like indoor soccer. They used a bigger, heavier ball that was harder to maneuver. Okay. So that's how they played. So when they actually got on a big field, they could do stuff that nobody else could do. But it was sort of that restrictive process, right? So they were using a heavier ball, restricted thing, and they would just do the drills over and over and over and over again. So the good news is there's a substance called myelin in our body. And once those connections get made, that's what allows a Michael Jordan or somebody to be so great. So here's what was interesting. This high school coach comes back. He goes back to England, and he's in Liverpool. He goes, yeah, this is how we're going to start practicing. He created an academy. Everybody laughed at him, said, you're not going to, come on. He put 14-year-old kids through it. And 5 years later, virtually every single one of them is top performer, not just in the English league, but worldwide.
Wow.
So it's how you practice. And there's probably a correlation to this to ControlTalk Now and HVAC Smart Building Controls. So if you can come up with those correlations for me and help me out of this, put it in comments and I'll give you a hat too. All right.
Hey, I like it. That's good stuff. I always enjoy It's something fun about reading and becoming wiser from it. I mean, it's just a very pleasant experience, and I always did like to read and always will, but good stuff.
Yeah. So listen, with that, special thanks to our guest this week, Martin Villeneuve from Distech Controls. Keep on doing what you guys are doing. And to our audience out there, we appreciate you. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, reach out in comments, win a hat, help me out with the correlation between the talent code and HVAC and smart building controls. And with that, Kenny Smyers, I will say, remember, be bold, stay in control, and be relevant.
Indeed, Eric.
Indeed. Kenny Smyers. See, we get this thumb thing down. We just practice until we get